escaped from the facility Friday night. And President Trump retweets a theory on sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein's death, what the president's rivals are saying. Plus, a local church is giving children the blessing right before school kicks off this week. Hello and thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Anna McAllister. Chelsea Jones has the night off. Topping our 10 o'clock hour, we have more information on the Swanson juveniles who escaped Friday night. According to Crime Stoppers of North Delta, 4 juveniles at the Swanson Center for Youth escaped Friday night by overpowering one of the guards. They allegedly stole her keys and jumped the fence to escape. One of the juveniles was caught yesterday, but 3 are still on the run. Authorities are searching for Donnie McCoy, Tequilin Berry, and Chance Johnson. If you have any information on their whereabouts, call police. And new at 10, the many unanswered questions about Jeffrey Epstein's death are fueling conspiracy theories online. President Trump retweeting one theory. Now his opponents are speaking out. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell reports.
Wielding the world's most powerful megaphone, President Trump retweeted a baseless conspiracy theory to nearly 63 million Twitter followers. A spurious accusation that the Clintons are somehow linked to Jeffrey Epstein's death. Today, Democratic candidates said enough.
This is another example of our president using this position of public trust to attack his political enemies with unfounded conspiracy theories.
What he's doing is dangerous.
President Trump once socialized with Jeffrey Epstein. Last month, their friendship ended years ago.
Well, I didn't get along with him.
President Clinton had known Epstein too, but a spokesman said they had not spoken in more than a decade. The Trump conspiracy retweet provoked this response from a Clinton aide. Ridiculous, and of course not true, and Donald Trump knows it. Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway today.
Why did the president then retweet that Clinton suggestion?
I think the president just wants everything to be investigated.
Donald Trump has a pattern of promoting false claims. Birtherism about Barack Obama, linking Ted Cruz's father to the JFK assassination. Notably, Epstein death conspiracies are covered by some Russian-owned media and all over the web.
Just because the accounts that initially pushed this are domestic accounts doesn't necessarily mean that Russia or other foreign actors aren't involved.
Beyond Kellyanne Conway's statement, the White House has not responded to NBC's request for comment. Now, on a lighter and more local note, a Monroe church took the time out of their service this morning to bless every kid's backpack before school starts this week. NBC 10's Maya Hudgens has the story.
All different colors, shapes, and designs of backpacks were brought to church this morning. First United Methodist Church of Monroe believes it's important to bless students and their backpacks right before school starts.
We wanted to bless them so that as they go forward, they know that their church stands with them and is supporting them and praying with them and for them.
When students go to grab their backpacks in the morning, they will be reminded of the blessing that was placed over them before they hit the halls.
It's an opportunity to remind them that their faith is not just something that happens on Sunday. We want them to carry their faith and share it with other friends and colleagues at school.
And will lead to impacting the people they come in contact with.
To see the influence that school and their friends have on them, it's great to know that as a father, as a pastor, I also get a chance to have my children have an influence on their friends.
About 35 kids were prayed over today, but it didn't stop there. Anyone that works in education was also recognized and encouraged.
All the teachers, the bus drivers, we have a couple of nurses, just folks that are in the schools that sometimes we don't even think about that are there.
In Monroe, Maya Hudgens, NBC 10, your local news leader.
And NBC 10 wants to wish students, parents, and educators a very happy first week of school. Now, coming up on NBC 10 News at 10, an Arkansas funeral home making a gracious gesture for the victims of last week's mass shootings. Coming up, learn how one community is making sure families affected know that they're not alone. And Brian, what can we expect for weather this week?
Well, if you thought today was hot, brutal heat is on the way as we start the upcoming week. And if you're planning on eating ice cream, which you want to make your best friend, it may not last too long. We'll type out all the details when the heat lasts and when we'll see relief when NBC 10 News at 10 continues.
Are you a DirecTV or AT&T UVerse subscriber who can no longer watch our sister station, Fox 14, through your television provider? First, we apologize for the inconvenience, as DirecTV and AT&T has refused to accept our parent company's offer to extend negotiations to avoid disruption to your service. We encourage you to reach out to DirecTV and AT&T at the number on your screen to express your concern for not receiving programming from KARD Fox 14, in addition to the most accurate weather forecast and local news that protects and informs you and your family.
The Animal House is your local pet store, Cypress Street, West Monroe. Everyone deserves a best friend. Clear the Shelters is back on August 17th. Join NBC 10, Fox 14, and Banner Ford for this nationwide pet adoption event. Last year, more than 100,000 animals found their forever homes. Find your new best friend. Go to myarquitness.com for a participating shelter near you.
Help an animal in need find their forever home. Together,
let's clear the shelters.
Sponsored by Vanguard Realty, Batteries Plus Bulbs, and Johnny's Pizza.
First 6-function multi-pro tailgate, available only on the next generation GMC Sierra. Get over $10,000 total value on this next generation 2019 Sierra Crew Cab SLT, or get 20% below MSRP on these 2019 Double Cab and SLE Crew Cab models with a traditional tailgate.
See your Monroe area GMC dealer.
I'm Eddie Risponi. I'm 100% pro-life, a lifelong outdoorsman, and a businessman who's created thousands of jobs.
Conservative outsider, Eddie Risponi.
I'll stand with President Trump to ban sanctuary cities, require work for welfare benefits, and give voters the right to approve serious tax reform.
A plan so easy, a career politician could do it.
They never will.
Boom, there it is. Eddie Risponi for governor.
John Kleigel's here for Interstate and West Monroe. It's our summer clearance event and our anything for trade sale. Bring it in, whatever it is. We're taking it for trade towards your new vehicle. Boats, jewelry, four-wheelers, even livestock. And you get to drive your new vehicle, a Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, or Fiat of your dreams. Shop InterstateDodge.com. We're taking anything, so bring it in to Interstate Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat in West Monroe.
NBC 10 News at 10 continues.
An Arkansas community wants families burying loved ones in El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio to know that they're not alone. A funeral home in West Memphis, Arkansas created prayer books residents could fill with personalized notes. It's a way to share their condolences with the families of mass shooting victims hundreds of miles away. Some showed up to write the messages by hand, while others emailed in their thoughts. The funeral home says many people in the community feel connected to the tragedies, but can't attend the funerals in person.
Our first initial thing was to bring the ability for the people here in the Mid-South, here in the Delta, to say their goodbye.
The funeral home mailed out the books Friday and are working with the Funeral Directors Association in Texas and Ohio to get the books to the families once arrangements are completed. So, Brian, what can you tell us about weather this week?
Make sure you are staying cool and safe out there as we head into the upcoming week. We'll time out all the details coming up when NBC 10 News at 10 continues.
Start your mornings with NBC 10 News today.
Preparing you and your kids for the day with the Bus Stop Forecast, showing you how to plan.
The Bus Stop Forecast on NBC 10 News today, sponsored by Creed & Creed, your local injury attorneys.
John Kleigel's here for Interstate and West Monroe. It's our summer clearance event and our anything for trade sale. Bring it in, whatever it is. We're taking it for trade towards your new vehicle. Boats, jewelry, four-wheelers, even livestock. And you get to drive your new vehicle, a Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, or Fiat of your dreams. Shop InterstateDodge.com. We're taking anything, so bring it in to Interstate Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat in West Monroe.
For over 96 years, MoBiz has become a trusted provider of office printing equipment in North Louisiana. We now service the entire ArcLamis with dependable HP and Lanier office equipment, a fully staffed call center, and a team of 15 trained technicians that can manage your printers, copiers, phone systems, and network solutions. Let MoBiz set up your IT network and ensure it stays working. Come see us or give MoBiz a call at 318-388-4600.
Here's your Buick, sir. Actually, that's my Buick.
How are we going to fit in your mom's Buick?
Easy.
I like that new Buick.
Me too.
I was actually talking about that Buick.
I knew that.
Did you?
Buick's fresh new lineup is full of surprises. Get this low-mileage lease on this 2019 Buick Encore for around $199 per month. Or get over $4,200 below MSRP on this 2019 Buick Encore Preferred.
See your Monroe area Buick dealer.
LSU Tiger fans, it's time to get up and go, get in the game, and get the inside stories on Go Nation. Tonight at 11:30 on NBC 10. Sponsored by Gordon McKernan, Injury Attorneys. News sponsored by Don Killen's Country Village. Live Storm Tracker Doppler Radar, sponsored by bankruptcy attorney E. Orem Young. Now, your local weather with meteorologist Brian Briggs.
Well, good Sunday evening to you. Hopefully you stayed cool today, as it was another hot one across the ArcLamis. We hit a high of 98 degrees today, which is above our average. And when you factored in what it actually felt like, we hit the 111 mark here in Monroe. Once again, Vicksburg, the lucky spot that seems to be getting that really, really hot temperature, 117. And we are just getting started here, folks, with this heat. It is pretty clear outside if we can see some clouds, but all in all, it is quiet out there, and we're currently still very, very hot, too. Currently sitting at 85 degrees, dew point 78, so very, very juicy air mass. In addition to that, not going to allow us to cool off. But with all the moisture in the air, really did not have too much in the way of shower and thunderstorm activity across the ArcLamis. Live Storm Tracker Doppler Radar brought to you by Orem Young. Quiet and not expected to really do much as we head into the next couple days, at least until our cold front gets here. But in the meantime, we're all sweating it out. Most of us are in the 80s at this hour, except Ruston. They seem to be the cool spot at this hour. They're sitting at 79. So, but again, it really doesn't matter what the actual air temperature is, considering it still feels like 97 here in Monroe at this hour, 97 in Monticello as well. And again, Ruston feeling like 82. So those folks, well, they're lucking out, at least on the kind of feeling cooler. But with that being said, this excessive heat warning is in effect for the majority of the ArcLamis. You're seeing that in purple here. We have a heat advisory in orange, and that is due to the dangerous heat that we're expecting to see over the next couple of days, with heat index values feeling more like the 110 to 115, even possibly up to 120 range as we go into the next couple of days. And we're not the only ones sweating it out. Look how much of the country is under an excessive heat warning or heat advisory. So yeah, it's a little bit of a mini heat wave. And as I mean mini, we will see some relief in the form of cold front. So Monday, not showing really much on Future Tracker aside from a cloud or two out there, maybe an isolated shower or storm. Same with Tuesday, but a little bit better chance. And then for Wednesday, here is our best friend here. It's going to be our cold front that moves in. Not only is it going to bring cooler and relatively drier air, but it's also going to bring a better chance for showers and thunderstorms as we go through the course of the middle of the week. And yeah, that's when we'll break the heat here. But until then, make sure you're getting to know this graphic fairly well. Never leave the kids in the car. Drink plenty of water. Make sure you're staying hydrated and not working yourself too hard out there and wearing the appropriate clothing, as it really will not take too much to get overwhelmed by that heat. So for tonight, dropping down to about 80, very warm and humid, and all of us are going to be sweating it out tonight, only dropping into the upper 70s to lower 80s for the majority of the ArcLamis. So even at the nighttime, where we're not going to be seeing really much in the way of relief either. And then 101 for tomorrow. This would be the first time we would hit 100 degrees here in the Twin Cities if we do hit this. And again, most of us sweating it out here with upper 90s to lower 100s for the majority of the ArcLamis. So quick look at the 7-day forecast shows that relief coming Wednesday, and then we'll stay in the mid to upper 90s, but even though the sunshine, it will be drier, so it will be relatively more comfortable.
Thanks, Brian. Coming up on NBC 10 News at 10, air fryers are taking kitchen countertops by storm. The devices circulate high heat and make foods crispy, similar to frying, but are they a healthier option? Coming up, we learn the major difference between traditional frying and air frying. A Cleveland Clinic dietitian explains the benefits of the new cooking method when we return.
Call Creed & Creed today. We're your local injury attorneys.
People are really excited about Toyota's national clearance event. Congrats.
Get $2,000 customer cash, or qualified buyers get 0% APR for 60 months on a new 2019 Camry. Toyota, let's go places.
Every day, I go to work for Entergy.
I know customers are counting on me.
Depending on me.
Relying on me. So Entergy is investing millions of dollars to keep the lights on.
We're inspecting and replacing utility poles.
We're improving the grid to serve you better and installing new technology to prevent outages before they happen.
We're building a stronger grid.
For a stronger Louisiana.
Because together,
we power life.
First 6-function multi-pro tailgate, available only on the next generation GMC Sierra. Get over $10,000 total value on this next generation 2019 Sierra Crew Cab SLT, or get 20% below MSRP on these 2019 Double Cab and SLE Crew Cab models with a traditional tailgate.
See your Monroe area GMC dealer.
I'm Donna Edwards. As a teacher, I believe the best opportunity you can give a child is a good education. That's why John Bell ended years of devastating cuts and is investing in our children's future again. He passed the first teacher pay raise in 10 years, increased funding for K-12 and higher education, and fully funded TOPS. It's a good start, but John Bell won't stop working until every child has the opportunities they need to keep moving Louisiana forward.
People are really excited about Toyota's national clearance event. Congrats.
During Toyota's national clearance event, qualified lessees can lease the new 2019 RAV4 LE for only $259 a month. Toyota, let's go places.
BC 10 News at 10 continues.
Air fryers are making waves in the world of cooking. Many people are investing in their own with hopes of preparing a healthier meal. But is air frying actually better for you? Well, according to Cleveland Clinic dietitian Kristen Kirkpatrick, it's all about what you choose to cook in your air fryer. And in fact, the air fryer doesn't really fry your food.
It's not frying by any means, and so there's some benefits there. Number one, in frying, we actually have the food kind of sitting in the oil and being cooked that way. There's no sitting in oil in this, so that helps to bring down calories and bring down fats.
An air fryer is basically a smaller, faster version of a convection oven. When compared to deep frying, Kirkpatrick says air frying can significantly reduce overall calorie and fat intake. In fact, one study comparing deep fried and air fried French fries shows air fried products have significantly less oil and fat. But what you choose to cook in your air fryer is key. Kirkpatrick encourages folks to cook whole foods like beans, sweet potatoes, wild salmon, and other types of fish in an air fryer. But she warns that an air fryer won't change a processed product that's already high in sodium, fat, and additives. Now, when we come back, week 1 of the NFL preseason wraps up with the Cowboys taking on the 49ers. We'll show you how they did. Plus, our sports teams sit down with the new Sun Belt commissioner, and we talk about what's new with the conference. Keep it here when sports is up next.
I'm Eddie Risponi. I'm 100% pro-life, a lifelong outdoorsman, and a businessman who's created thousands of jobs.
Conservative outsider, Eddie Risponi.
I'll stand with President Trump to ban sanctuary cities, require work for welfare benefits, and give voters the right to approve serious tax reform.
A plan so easy, a career politician could do it.
They never will.
Boom, there it is. Eddie Risponi for governor.
Here's your Buick, sir. Actually, that's my Buick.
How are we going to fit in your mom's Buick?
Easy.
I like that new Buick.
Me too.
I was actually talking about that Buick.
I knew that.
Did you?
Buick's fresh new lineup is full of surprises. Get this low-mileage lease on this 2019 Buick Encore for around $199 per month. Or get over $4,200 below MSRP on this 2019 Buick Encore Preferred.
See your Monroe area Buick dealer.
Search for a really strong glue that's clear.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Clear glue. Clear Gorilla Glue.
Of course. Gorilla Glue strength in a crystal clear formula. For the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
Wimpy trash bags. Come on.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
Hey, ladies. Buy Hefty Ultra Strong at a low price.
Dada. I wish.
Get Hefty Ultra Strong. Costs less than Glad Force Flex for sold head-to-head.
Now, your local sports Sports with Spencer Tillis.
The Sun Belt Conference is under new management as this year a new commissioner stepped into the office. This past week, he stopped by ULM to meet with some of their officials, and I had a chance to catch up with him and talk about the changes that are on the way to the league.
Time and talk with this commissioner. New on the job, about a few months in. How's the transition been so far for you?
You know, it's been great. So I'm in a process right now of getting to all 12 schools before the start of football season, which brings me to ULM today. It's my 8th school, but I've seen a lot of great things. Really excited about the future of the Sun Belt.
Making this tour and actually getting your feet on the campus, how important was that to you and kind of getting the feel, not just for the schools, but for their concerns with the conference?
Yeah, it's really important in terms of, one, just beginning the process of starting relationships, building relationships, getting to know people, understanding what the challenges are, but also just seeing campus. It's just nice to kind of see it, have some visuals, so that way when I come back during the academic year, I kind of have some context in a sense.
You certainly go into any job having an idea of what it's going to be about. What do you think so far about the athletics of what you've seen in the conference, and has it changed at all now being a part of it versus what you knew on the outside?
I've been very impressed. You know, it's such a quality conference. The quality of football I've been very, very impressed with. So I'm really excited about football season and getting a chance to see the campuses and the venues on game day. But it's a great conference with a lot of great coaches, a lot of great administrators, and I've been impressed by the commitment to athletics from the athletic directors and from the presidents and chancellors.
Let's talk a little bit about the college football playoff. I mean, obviously, you look at like UCF a few years ago. They run the table, they miss out. What is it going to take from a school from a non-Power 5 to break into that? And do you think that someone from the Sun Belt someday could actually be competing for a national championship type game?
You know, our focus on the Sun Belt is we want to be the highest rated Group of 5 champion so we can play in the New Year's Six Bowl. And I certainly think about, you know, UCF, and they've had some tough goes in terms of trying to get to the CFP, but they got to that Group of 5. They were the highest ranked Group of 5, and they played in the New Year's Six Bowl, and that's one of our goals. So that's where we're focused. We're trying to make sure that we get preseason ranked and have our programs get the respect that they deserve. And once that happens, then I think we'll have a chance to kind of take that next step.
Do you think the college football playoff should expand, or do you like it at 4 teams?
What I would say is I do think it's working, and our focus really is on the bowl kind of system, just because I think if there is going to be expansion, we want to make sure that the bowls stay intact, because that is the path for more of our teams to have postseason experiences. Even if the college football playoff expands, that's only one spot. You know, our bowl spots give a lot more students postseason opportunities.
Obviously, you're in charge of more than just the football programs. With basketball coming up with the big changes coming there, how important was that to maybe kind of shake things up again, try and raise your RPI in some of these teams and hopefully get a few more of them into the postseason?
Yeah, basketball is really important. You know, if you think about the Sun Belt, it really kind of was born as a basketball conference and has a lot of great basketball tradition. And so we want to be a good basketball conference. Getting multiple teams in the NCAA tournament from a men's standpoint and a women's standpoint is really important to us. It's important to our presidents and ADs, and that'll be something that we'll be focused on.
All right, Coach, we'll enjoy the rest of this tour, seeing those last teams, and we'll see you here at a few games. You think this fall or what?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being back on campus.
All right, let's see if I can do a little better here in the second half of the Sports Block. Meanwhile, week 1 of the NFL preseason wrapped up yesterday. 3 more games, including the Cowboys, who had their first action of the fall when they took on the 49ers. Dallas still obviously without Zeke Elliott, and he continues to try and hold that for that new deal. But they did have this guy, though. Dak Prescott looking good, finds Michael Gallup. That's good for a first down pickup. It would lead to a field goal, and that was pretty much the story of the ballgame. They settled for a lot of field goals. San Francisco, not so much. They're moving down the field all day long, get the touchdown right there, and the 49ers would eventually go on to win the game 14-9.
I think the biggest thing we try to do is create an environment for our players where they can go be comfortable running stuff. We don't game plan for these games. The biggest thing you want to do is create an environment for your players to go play, where they can play decisively, and that applies to your veteran players, but that certainly applies to the younger guys. And you want to give them an opportunity to do some things that they know so we can evaluate them the right way. So we'll continue to try to grow offensively, defensively in the kicking game out here, and then use these game experiences to evaluate guys and hopefully continue to get better as a team.
That is going to be it for sports. With one last look at your forecast coming up next.
Celebrate
the entire month with us at Jim Taylor Ford Lincoln in Ruston. Check out our great selection of 2019 F-150s, now with 0% financing for 72 months. Or stop in to test drive our impressive lineup of 2019 Mustangs, Explorers, Fusion Gas, and Ford Flex, all with 0% financing for 72 months. Put our experienced team to work for you. Come experience what we're all about at Jim Taylor Ford Lincoln in Ruston.
Hi, I'm Randall Gilly. For over 40 years, Gilly's has served our community with exceptional service. We have some of the best trained employees in our industry, some that have been with us for over 26 years.
During Lennox Spring Sales Event, receive up to $1,600 rebates or finance a new Lennox system for as low as $116 a month. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Just call the local guys, Gilly's Heating and Cooling.
Gilly's Heating and Cooling. We heat you up, we cool you down.
Hey, man. Yeah. You heard about that Earn Better checking from Centric?
I have 4.15%. Hello?
Hello.
Earn Better checking. Earn 4.15% APY on balances up to $20,000. Just another way Centric is helping you live better.
First 6-function multi-pro tailgate, available only on the next generation GMC Sierra. Get over $10,000 total value on this next generation 2019 Sierra Crew Cab SLT, or get 20% below MSRP on these 2019 Double Cab and SLE Crew Cab models with a traditional tailgate.
See your Monroe area GMC dealer. Sports with Chris Demersion, weeknights on NBC 10 News.
Is on the way as we start the upcoming work week. 101 for Monday and Tuesday. Excessive heat warning is in effect. Really not too many in the way of rain chances to help cool us down either. And with those lows at night, 80s. So yeah, make sure you're staying cool and safe over the next couple days. But the good news is we'll see some relief in the form of a quote-unquote not so hot front for Wednesday. Maybe about a 50% chance of showers and storms, and then cooler, somewhat drier, but still hot as we head in the end of the week. But at least it will not be as bad as what we're going to see in the next couple days.
Drink a lot of water, it looks like.
Yes, make sure you're staying
And
hydrated.
AC.
Yes, if you can find it.
100%. Well, thank you guys. That's it for us. Join us in tomorrow morning. Thanks.